Now,
Now,
you
rubbish
said
you said
where you see
where you see
in the same
in
year.
the same year.
Now, we
Now,
welcome
we
you
welcome
all
you all
to
to
the second
the second
session and the
and
last
the
session
last session
for today.
today.
I mean,
I
it's
mean,
the two
the
last
two last
sessions
sessions
for
for
today.
today.
So,
So,
we're having
having
two speakers
speakers
cause the
cause the
role
role
of
of
the role
the
of
role of
fathers in
brothers
parenting.
parenting.
Is it
Is it
figurehead or
figurehead or
are they
are they
figurehead or are they
figurehead or are they
role model?
role
So
models?
these
So
are
these are this.
I mean, our
I mean,
speakers
our
will be
speakers will be
exploring this with
exploring
us. They'll be
this with us, will be
discussing and
discussing
exploring
and
this with
exploring
us.
this
I
with
mean,
us.
our
I mean,
fathers
our
are
fathers
they role model?
are they role
Are they
model?
role model?
Are they role
Or they
model?
are just
Or they are
figurehead?
just
Are they
figurehead?
just
Are they just
I mean, is their
I
role
mean, is
just
their role
limited
just
to
limited to
paying
paying
fee,
fee,
providing for the
providing for the
family,
family,
um,
um,
I mean,
I mean,
taking care of the
taking care
children
of
and
the
all that,
children and all that,
providing for them,
providing for them,
or their
or
role
their
models. I
role
mean,
models. I
is
mean,
their
is
role
their role
does their role
does their role
also
also
encompasses
encompasses
um,
um,
being a
being a
good
good
role model
role
to
model to
them? So
them.
those are
So
the
those
things
are the
that
things
our
that
speakers
our
will be
speakers will be
exploring with us.
exploring with
So
us.
we are
So
still
we are
waiting
still
for
waiting
our
for our
speakers. My name
speakers.
is
My name
Fatia
is
Brother,
Sophia
and I have
Brother, and
my
I have my
co-moderator
co-moderator
who will be
who will be
moderating, who will be
moderating,
in
who
charge
will
of
be in charge of
moderating the
moderating
panel
panel
section.
section.
His name
His name
is
is
Brother Yusuf.
Brother Yusuf.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Can you tell
Can you tell
Salama.
can you greet her
can you greet her?
Yes, ma'am. Wa alaikum salam, everybody. I'm Yusuf Kodri. As you said, you're welcome.
No.
No.
So
So
before our
before our
speakers
speaker
are
speaker
here
are
yet,
here,
I'll
I'll
just
just
try to
try to
go through their
go to their
profiles,
profiles,
tell you
tell
who
you
our
who our
speakers
speakers
are.
are.
Okay.
Okay.
So one
So
of the
one
most,
of the
like I
most,
said
like
in the
I
last
said
time,
in
one
the
of the
last
most
time, one of the most
intriguing part of
intriguing part of
this is that
this is that
fathers are
fathers
coming
are coming.
in. We're having
We're having
the male gender
male
coming
gender coming
in to
to
discuss what
discuss what
parenting
parenting
entails.
entails.
So
So
yeah,
yeah,
let me read
let me
their
read their
profile.
profile.
Sorry. Okay, now. So one of
So
our
one of our
speakers
speakers
today
today
is a writer,
is a writer,
is an educator, and
educator, and
is a
is
work
a
from
work
home
from home
father and a
father,
PhD
and a
student
PhD
at the
student at the
Middle
Middle
Thames State
Thames State
University
University,
in the
in the
Department of
Department of
Literacy
Literacy
Studies.
Studies.
So we can see
So we
that
can
our
see that
speakers
our
are
speakers
we
are
have qualified speakers. They are
they are
qualified to
qualified to
discuss
discuss
this topic
this topic
with us. It's
because
also
it's also
a
a
Teach for
teach for
America
America
alum
along with
with an
an
Americorps
American
fellow.
fellow.
He holds
He
a
holds
BA
a
in psychology and
psychology and
sociology from
sociology from
Brooklyn
Brooklyn
College of
College
City
of
University
University
of New
of
York,
New York,
and
and
he also
he also
he did his
he did his
master's
master's
degree in
degree in
education,
education,
and is the
and is
author
the author
of
of
the book
the book
Beneath
Beneath
Scarf
Scout
and
and
three other
three other
books.
books.
So
So
this
this
lovely speaker
lovely
name,
speaker name,
this our lovely
this our
speaker
lovely
name
speaker
is
name is
Mr.
Mr.
Tayyip
Tayyip
Adejumo.
Adejumo.
So while we are
So
still
while we
waiting
are still
for
waiting
him to
for him to
also
also
introduce our
introduce our
second
second
speaker.
speaker.
So
So
our
our
second
second
speaker
speaker
is a
is a
Muslim
Muslim
parenting
parenting
coach. I mean, this is
I mean, this is
lovely. When I
lovely.
saw
When
this,
I saw this, I was very,
I was
I was
very
very
happy because
happy because this is one of
the first time
the
I'm
first
seeing
time I'm seeing
like a
like
male
a male
that is
that is
into
into
parenting.
parenting.
Male being
Male
a
being
parent
a
coach. This is
parent
the
for
first
this
time
is
I'm
the first time
seeing
I'm
it,
seeing
and
it, and
I checked.
I went for like I checked
his
his
content, and they
contents
were
and they were
really
really
inspiring.
inspiring.
No, so this
So
aspect
this
that
aspect
is
that
like
is
I said, is a
like I said,
Muslim
is a Muslim
parenting coach with
parenting coach with
years of
years of
experience of
experience of
helping Muslim
helping Muslim
parents
parents
attain
attain
breakthroughs and
breakthroughs and
positive
positive
transformation in
transformation
their
in their
parenting
parenting
efforts to
efforts to
raise a
raise a
total
total
Muslim child.
Muslim child.
He also
He
mentors
also mentored
young
young
Muslim
Muslim
children and has
children and
authored
has
several
authored several
parenting guides.
parenting guides.
Also, this
Also,
Africa
this
is the
Africa
founder
is the
of the
founder of the
Muslim
Muslim
Associated
Associated
Parenting Group,
Parenting
MAP,
MAP
and
and
MAP
MAP
mentoring.
mentoring.
So he's also
So
a
it's also a
publisher with records of
records of
representation
representation
on TV,
on TV,
AIT,
AIT,
African
African
television,
television,
and
and
radio
radio
station,
station,
which is
which
Star
is
FM.
Star
So
FM.
this our
So these
speaker.
are our speakers.
He's also an
He's also
educator,
an educator,
from
from
administrator with over
administration with
10
over 10
years of
years
experience in
in
education
education
industry.
industry.
He's a
He's
research
a research
expert with
expert
specials in
in
education,
education,
humanities, and
humanities,
social
and social
sciences.
science.
What is love
What
your
is
program?
love program?
And I
And I
trust
trust that
that you will
you will
he has
he has
the
that
ability to
ability
give
to
justice
give
to the
justice to the
questions
questions
that it will
that
be
it
asked.
will be asked.
So we
So
are still
we
waiting
are still
for
waiting
our
for our
other
other
speaker,
speaker,
Mr. Toyib
Mr.
Ade.
Toyib Ade.
So we have
So we have
sorry,
sorry,
I forgot to
I
say
forgot to say
these
these
parents. Sorry, these are
these
parents'
are parents'
name. His
name.
name
His
is
name is
Mr.
Mr.
Abdulfatah
Abdulfatah
Bokuola.
Bokuola.
I'll be bringing him now.
now.
So my
My
co-moderator will be in
co-moderator
charge of
in charge of
moderating
moderating
this
this
section.
section.
And
And
let me bring
let me
in
bring in
Mr.
Mr.
Bokuola.
Bokuola.
Assalamu alaikum,
Assalamu
sir.
alaikum, sir.
وعليكم السلام
Assalamu
ورحمة الله
Assalamu alaikum
وبركاته.
wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Now,
Thanks for joining us today, and I
know
know
that
that
our
our
audience,
audience,
they are really
they are really
prepared for this
prepared
section. I
for
mean,
this section.
they
I mean,
want to
they
know
want to know
the
the
role, what
role, what
has
role
play
class play
in this
in
parenting
this
journey. They want
parenting
to
journey. They
learn
want to
more.
learn
And they're
more.
not just
And they're not
learning
just learning it
from
from
the female
the
gender.
female
They're
gender.
learning from the male gender. They are
Gender. They are learning
learning
it for
themselves.
themselves.
I pray
I
Allah
pray
make
Allah
it easy for
easy
us.
for us.
So we are still
So we
waiting
are still waiting
for
for
our other
our
speaker,
other
Mr.
speaker,
Tohib
Tohib
Adegimo.
Adegimo.
But spending
But
that
spending
time,
that time,
we'll move on
move
with
on
the
with
session.
the session. So when it comes,
then we can
then we
start
can
from
start
there.
from it.
Now over to you,
Over to you,
Mr.
Mr.
Yusuf Quadri.
Quadri.
Okay, ma'am. Sir. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome, sir.
وعليكم السلام
Walaikum
ورحمة الله
assalam
وبركاته.
wa barakatuh.
No. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're welcome, sir. So, because sir, what are the things that you can tell us about when you say we have fathers as figureheads or models in parenting? What do you see? What is your basis on this, sir?
نعم. أعوذ بالله من
أعوذ
الشيطان
بالله من
الرجيم. بسم
الشيطان
الله
الرجيم.
الرحمن
بسم
الرحيم.
الله الرحمن الرحيم.
الحمد لله والصلاة
الحمد لله
والسلام
والصلاة
على رسول
والسلام
الله.
على رسول الله.
When we say
models
models
of
figureheads, that's
figureheads,
some
that's
fathers
some
are models
fathers
and
are
some are
models and some
figureheads.
are figureheads.
We are actually
We are
saying
actually saying
that
that
whatever
whatever
position we find
position
ourselves
we
as
find
fathers,
ourselves as fathers,
our children are learning from
our
us.
children are learning from us.
They are watching us.
They are watching
They are
us.
observing us.
They are observing us.
In fact, in my own
In fact, in
perception,
my own
I don't
perception,
think there's any
I don't
figurehead,
think there's any figurehead.
because even a figurehead
Because even a
father is
figurehead
also a
father
model.
is also a model.
Yes, but a
Yes,
figurehead
but
model.
a
I
figurehead
hope you get
model.
that.
I hope you get that.
A
Yes.
figurehead
A
model.
figurehead model.
So children are
So
watching,
children are
they are
watching,
observing us,
they are
they want
observing
to
us,
learn from
want
us.
to learn from us.
So now when we don't
So
say
now
a
when we don't
father
say
is
a
role
father is
model
role
or
model
a figurehead,
or
we are
a
actually
figurehead,
saying
we are
that
actually saying that
the father
the father
has some roles
has
to play,
some roles to
which
play,
is either
which
playing
is either
or
playing
he has left
or he
abandoned.
has left abandoned.
Okay.
Now,
Now,
Oh, okay, sir. Now, on that, sir, can you give us an example of a figurehead father and an example of a model father in this current 21st century, sir?
Okay,
Okay,
Jazakallah khairan. Let me start by stating what a sheikh,
sheikh,
a scholar of Islam,
a
what he
scholar of
said.
Islam, what he said.
He tried to
He tried to
categorize fathers into four,
four,
depending on this
depending on this
question you asked me.
question you asked me.
He said there are
He
four
said
fathers.
there
The
are
first
four
is
fathers. The
al-hadir
first is
al-hadir,
al-hadir al-hadir,
the one who is
the
present,
one who is present,
physically present, and is also
and
emotionally
is also
present.
emotionally present.
Meaning that
Meaning
he
that
is there, he shows up as
he
the
shows up
father,
as the father,
and is aware
and is
and knows
aware
what
and
goes on
knows
in the
what
home.
goes on in the home.
These are the kind of
These
fathers
are the
that
kind
will
of
take
fathers that will
time
take
from work
time from
to
work
attend the
to
graduation
attend
ceremony
the
of their
graduation
children.
ceremony of their children.
These are the kind of
These
fathers
are the kind of
that will
fathers
take time
that will take
from
time
work
from work
to ensure that they
to
show
ensure
up
that they show up
on the particular
on the
event
particular
when their
event
children
when
are
their
actually
children are
uh,
actually uh,
they are celebrating.
they are celebrating.
Okay, so
Okay,
this
so
al-hadir
this
al-hadir
al-hadir
is
al-hadir
present
is
physically and
present
emotionally. He
physically and
knows what
emotionally.
goes
He
on
knows what
in
goes on
his home.
in his
He
home.
engages in
He engages
conversation
in
with
a
his family
conversation with his
members.
family
He's
members.
aware of the
He's
challenges
aware
of
of
the
the
children,
challenges of the
and
children,
is very
and
much on top
is
of the
very
game,
much on top
of
of
this
the game,
parenting
of
game.
this parenting game.
The second
The
category
second category
is
is
al-ghayib al-hadir,
al-ghayib al-hadir,
the one who is
the one who
absent, is physically
is
absent,
physically
but
absent,
is
but
emotionally
is
present.
emotionally present.
You know, life
You
happens
know, life happens
due to some
due
economic
to some
issues.
economic
A man may
issues.
find
A man
himself,
may
a
find
father may find
himself, a father
himself
may
not
find
too
himself
close to
not
his
too
family
close to his family
physically. He may be
physically.
working
He may
outside
be
the
working
state, or
outside the
even
state
outside the
or
country.
even outside the
You
country.
know, or he may be
You
there
know, or he may
studying
be
for
there
study
studying
purpose.
for study
So,
purpose.
despite the fact
So,
that he's
despite the
away
fact
from his
that he's
family,
away from
he
his
still
family,
keeps
he
tabs
still
of
keeps tabs
what
of
goes on in the home.
what goes
He
on in the
monitors
home.
them. He
He monitors
communicates
them. He
every
communicates
now and then.
every now and then.
You know,
You know,
alhamdulillah, technology has made
alhamdulillah,
things
technology
very
has made
easy.
things very
We can
easy.
actually do
You
like
can
we are
actually
doing
do
now. This
like
is
you are doing
online.
now. This
I'm
is
here, you are
online.
there.
I'm
I'm
here, you
seeing
are
you, and
there.
we can
I'm seeing you,
communicate.
and we can communicate.
So he's
So
communicating with his
he's
family
communicating with
members.
his
He's
family
communicating
members. He's communicating
with his
with his
wife. So he
wife.
knows what is
He knows
happening.
what is
He listens to
happening.
the
He listens
children.
to
He
the
advises
children.
them,
He
and so on and
advises
so
them,
forth.
and so on
So
and so
this is
forth. So
al-ghaib
this is
al-hadr.
al-ghaib
So this
al-had.
is also
So
a
this
good
is
father.
also a good father.
Although it would be
Although it
ideal
would be
if he is
ideal
very
if
much
he is
closer
very
to
much
his
closer
children.
to his
But you
children.
know,
But
life
you know,
happens.
life happens.
Yes, sure.
The third
Yes.
The
category
third
is
category
al-hadir
is
al-ghaib.
al-hadir al-ghayib.
Al-hadir al-ghaib.
Al-hadir al-ghayib.
This one is physically
This one is
present,
physically present,
but is emotionally
but is
absent.
emotionally absent.
He is there in the
He is
house.
there
He is
in the
there in the
house. He is
home,
there in the home,
but is
but
emotionally
is
absent.
emotionally
He
absent.
doesn't. He doesn't know what is
He doesn't know
going
what
on
is going on
in the house.
in the house.
He's
He
distracted
is
by his
distracted
job
by his
and by his
job
own
and
personal
by his own
life.
personal life.
So
So
this kind of father is
this
not
kind
doing
of
well
father
at
is
all.
not doing well at all.
Okay.
Okay.
Now the fourth
Now the
category.
fourth
The
category,
fourth category is al-hadir
is
al-mughayyab.
al-mughayyab.
This is a
This
father
is a father
that is present,
that is present,
but is a
but
stranger
is a
in his own
stranger
house.
in his own house.
Although he's physically
Although
present,
he's physically
but
present,
is
but
nobody
is
misses him.
nobody misses him.
Nobody misses him in the home.
Nobody misses him in the home.
He is very
He is very
irresponsible.
irresponsible.
He is nonchalant,
Is nonchalant,
and nobody
and
takes orders
nobody
from
takes
him
orders from him
due to these
due to these
negative values that
negative
he has as
values
a father.
that he has as a father.
So when we look at these four
So when we look at these
categories,
four
we can begin
categories,
to
we
separate
can begin to
or
separate
to identify
or to
who is
identify
a
who
model
is
and who
a
is a
model
figurehead
and who
among
is
these
a figurehead
parents.
among these parents.
Now,
Now,
to take that further,
to
I
take that
would
further,
even like
I
to
would
state
even
the
like to
realities of
state the realities of
some realities of
of
a father
a
who is
father
just a
who
figurehead,
is
who
just
is
a
not really a
figurehead, who
model.
is not really a model.
Can I go on?
Can I go on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure, sure, sir.
Okay, sure.
Okay, sure.
The first is that they
The
don't
first
show
is
up.
that they don't show up.
A figurehead father
A
doesn't
figurehead
show
father
up
doesn't
as a
show up
parent.
as a parent.
The best they do
The
is just
best
to
they do
settle
is just to
bills, is
settle
to pay
bills,
bills,
to pay
to pay
bills,
school fees,
to pay school fees,
to settle
to
home, give
settle home,
the family
give
what
the
to eat,
family what
and
to
that
eat,
is all.
and that is all.
But they don't show up
But
as a
don't show
parent
up as a
where
parent
where the children actually need them.
actually need
For
them.
instance,
For
the
instance,
child needs
the
some
child needs
advice,
some
some
advice,
suggestions.
some
The
suggestions.
child needs to
The
write
child
an
needs to
exam
write
and
an exam and
is thinking about the
thinking
subject
about the
combination.
subject
He
combination.
needs advice
He
on
needs
what to do
advice
with
on
his life.
what to do with his life.
They are not just there.
They are not
They
just
don't
there.
show up.
They don't show up.
And like I mentioned the
And
other
like I
time,
mentioned the other time,
these are parents
these are parents
that get
that
distracted by their job, their own personal life. When their children are having good things to do, they are not there. So that is one. You
So
don't show
that
up.
is one. You don't show up.
Two, figurehead
Two,
fathers, they
figurehead
don't spend
fathers,
time
they
with the
don't spend
children.
time with the children.
So they don't spend time
So
with
they
children.
don't
And
spend time
like
with
I
children.
said
And
when
like
I
I
was
said
talking about the
when I
categories
was
of
talking about
fathers,
the categories of
these are the
fathers,
ones that
these are the
they
ones
are
that
either
they are either
they are physically
they are
present, but
physically
they are not
present,
emotionally
but they are not
present.
emotionally present.
They may be
They may
physically
be
generous,
physically
materially
generous,
generous,
materially
meaning they give
generous, meaning they give
money, they settle
money,
bills,
they
they make
settle bills,
sure
they
that
make
this
sure
and this,
that
these
this
are in
and
order
these are in order
financially,
financially,
but they are emotionally
but they
stingy.
are
They don't
emotionally
have time.
stingy. They don't have time.
There was a time I was talking
There
with
was a
some
time I was
teenagers,
talking with some
and I
teenagers,
asked them,
and
that
I asked
who
them that
amongst you
who amongst
has
you
spoken with his
has
father
spoken with his father
in this week or
in this week or
within 2 weeks from
within
now,
2 weeks from now,
like talking heart
like
to heart
talking
with your
heart to
father.
heart with your father.
They're like,
They're like,
heart to heart, ke.
how to ask
How can that be?
how can
It
that
has
be?
never happened.
It has never
I said,
happened.
what do you mean?
Ah,
I said,
He said,
what do you
yes,
mean?
sir,
I said,
it has
yes,
never
it
happened.
has
The only
never
time
happened. The only time
somebody told me, I speak with
the
my
only
dad
time
is
I
when I
speak
have
with
something
my
to
dad is
collect
when I
from him.
have something to collect from him.
that is worst.
So they don't
So they
talk to
don't
them
talk
to
to
that,
this
and
to them
because
to that, and because
for these
if
fathers
for
too, they
these
don't give
fathers
the
they
they
don't
don't
give
give the
they
chance,
don't give
the
the chance,
opportunity
the
for children to
opportunity
communicate
for
with
children
them.
to communicate
And
with
that
them.
takes me to the third
And that
point.
takes me to the third point.
Figurehead fathers don't
Figurehead
communicate.
fathers don't communicate.
They only give instruction.
They only give
Hey,
instruction.
do this, do
Hey,
that.
do this,
Go
do
there, go
that.
and wash my
Go there,
car.
go and
I'm
wash
going
my
out
car.
now.
I'm going out now.
But they don't communicate
But they
like
don't
how
communicate like
one-to-one
how
discussion with their
one-to-one
children.
discussion with their children.
Like, what are the
Like,
challenges you're
what are the
having?
challenges you're having?
What do you want me? What do you want me to know about?
What do you want
What
to know
is there
about?
anything you are hiding
What
from
is
me?
there
Is there
anything you are
anything
hiding from me?
that you
Is there
feel
anything that you feel
too heavy in your mind that you want to
heavy in
tell
your
me?
mind that you want to tell me?
So they don't
So
communicate.
they don't communicate.
And because of this lack
And
of
because of this
communication,
lack of
it makes
communication,
children to
it
withdraw
makes children to withdraw
from them.
from them.
In fact,
If
in that gathering, I
in that
told
gathering, I told the
I asked
I had
the teenagers,
the
they are
teenagers,
children of
they are
about
children of about
12 to
12
16.
to
And I
16.
said,
And I said,
what will happen? How will
what
you
will
feel
happen?
if your
How will
father
you feel
just
if your
if your father
father
tells you,
if your
maybe you
father
get home
tells you,
now,
maybe you
and your
get home
father
now,
tells you,
and your father tells you,
my son,
my
I
son,
love you.
I love you.
They're like, that
They're
would
like,
be a miracle.
that would be a miracle.
Yes, sure.
And
Because
one of them said,
one of them said,
one of them said
one
that
of them
he
said
will
that
actually
he will
wonder
actually
if daddy
wonder
has
if
just
daddy
been
has just
paid
been
his salary,
paid his
or
salary,
maybe mommy gave
or
him
maybe
fried rice
mommy
and
gave him
chicken,
fried
and
rice
so
and
he's very
chicken, and
happy.
so
So he
he's
just
very
said, let me
so he
say I
just said,
love you
let
to
me
this
say
boy.
I love you to this boy.
It has never happened. Imagine, for it, if it has never happened that a father tells his own son that I love you. Can you imagine? So these are more like figurehead fathers. Another point is that they don't consult their families. They don't consult their family members. They take unilateral decision, just all alone. And the danger in this is that when they don't consult their family, the danger is that the children also they learn not how to tell their parents, how to tell their fathers their decisions. Any decision they want to make, any major decision they want to make, they don't even tell their fathers to, because the father doesn't tell them his or doesn't consult them. And Allah subhanahu wa
Allah
ta'ala
subhanahu wa
said in the Quran, he told the Prophet sallallahu, he said, "A'udhu billahi minash rajim, fabima rahmatin min Allahi linta lahum, wa la kunta fazwan ghalizal qalbi lam faddu min hawlik, fa'fu anhum waghfir lahum wa shawirhum fil amri." Allah told the Prophet that, fabima rahmatin min Allahi linta lahum. See, it is by Allah's mercy that you are gentle with the Sahaba. Okay, so be gentle with them, be merciful with them. وَلَا كُنْتَ فَظًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. If you turn hard-hearted,
hard-hearted.
if you are the
If you
strong-hearted person, they will all leave you. They will just disperse and leave you. So be gentle with them. Far from overlook their shortcomings. وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ, and ask Allah for forgiveness for them. وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ, and consult them in matters. That is Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the best of mankind, the one who has the best sense of judgment. Allah told him to consult his Sahaba. How much more we parents? It is ego, it is just sheer ego on the part of fathers to feel like they know all and they can take all decisions. Okay, so these figurehead fathers don't communicate, they don't consult their families, and they don't help their children prepare for the future as well. They feel like, well, those children will get to use. They will get used to it now. They will get used to life by themselves. So they just
They just
live life as they find it.
find it.
Also, figurehead
Also,
fathers,
figurehead fathers,
they
they
don't
don't
strive to be a better
strive to
version
be
of
a better
themselves.
version of themselves.
It is so
It is
saddening
so
to see
saddening
that
to see that
today,
today,
mothers are
wallahi,
doing
mothers
wonderful.
are doing wonderful.
They are doing
They
wonderfully.
are doing wonderfully.
See, these
See,
mothers, they
these
attend
mothers, they
seminars,
attend seminars, renting
they
seminars,
attend
they attend
conference. This
conference.
this is
This
example of
this
conference
is
you're having.
example of
You will see
conference you're having. You
majorly
see,
it will
majorly
be women that will be attending.
women that will be attending.
They attend programs, they
They
attend
attend programs,
lectures,
they attend
all
lectures,
to the sake
all
of
to the
getting it
sake of
right.
getting it right.
But how many times do you see
But how many times do you see
fathers
fathers
learning
learn
about
his fathers
parenting?
learning about parenting?
It is scarce, sir.
We feel like,
We
oh,
feel
it's
like,
not really our
oh,
own
it's not really our own
responsibilities. The
responsibilities.
mother should go and
The
learn
mother should
about it.
go and learn
We
about
don't
it.
really,
We
our own
don't
is to
really,
go out to
our own is
work
to
and
go out to
come back
work
and
and
provide
come back
money.
and provide
They
money.
afterward,
They afterward,
like you guys to say, they will
like
say,
you guys to
oh,
say, they will say, oh,
afterward, they are
afterward,
only after money.
they are only after money.
That is it's an
That is
erroneous
it's an
idea. It's
erroneous
an
idea.
erroneous
It's an
notion
erroneous
to think
notion
that all
to
your
think that
family
all
require
your
from me
family
is just
require from
money.
me is just money.
Subhanallah.
Subhanallah.
So we
So
we should try
should
to be a better
we
version of
strive a better
ourselves.
version of
Look at
ourselves.
Prophet Ibrahim
Look at
alayhi
Prophet
salatu
Ibrahim
wasalam.
alayhi salatu wasalam.
In Surah Ibrahim,
In
Quran
Surah
14
Ibrahim,
verse
Quran 14
40,
verse 40,
he said a
he
prayer.
said a
And I
prayer.
used to wonder
And I used
on
to
that prayer
ponder on
several
that prayer
times. And I
several
used to say
times.
it
And I
too.
used to say it
He
too.
said, Rabbi,
He said, Rabbi,
ij'alli muqim
ij'alni
as-salat
mukim
wa
as-salat
min
wa
dhurriyyati
min dhurriyyati
rabbana
rabbana
taqabbal du'a.
taqabbal du'a.
Oh Allah,
Oh Allah,
establish me,
establish me,
make me
make
steadfast
me
in prayer.
steadfast in prayer.
Wa min dhurriyyati,
Wa min
and my
dhurriyyati,
children
and
and
my
grandchildren,
children
my
and
offspring,
grandchildren, my offspring.
establish them, make
Establish them, make
their feet firm
their feet
in your
firm
deen,
in your
so that they
deen,
pray and
so that
observe
they
all
pray and observe
obligations.
all obligations.
Rabbana taqabbal du'a.
Rabbana
Oh
taqabbal
Allah,
du'a.
answer our
Oh
prayer.
Allah, answered our prayer.
This is a prophet of Allah
This is a prophet of
who
Allah
is asking that Allah
who is
should make
asking
it
that
better.
Allah should make it better.
How much more we
How
that we
much
are
more
not even
we that we
close
are
to
not
the
even
rank of the
close to the
prophet,
rank of
not
the
even to the
prophet,
ranks of the
not even to
Sahaba.
the ranks of the Sahaba.
So we should always try to
We
be
should
a better
always try to
version
be
of
a better version of
ourselves. So
So
figurate fathers
figurate
they are
fathers
not this kind
they
of
are not this
people.
kind of
I mean, they
people.
don't
I mean, they
strive
don't
to be better versions of
strive to be better
themselves.
versions of
They are
themselves.
just stagnant.
They are just
Unlike the
stagnant.
mothers
Okay.
Unlike the
who will buy
mothers
parenting
who will
books,
buy
buy
parenting books, buy
parenting guide,
parenting
we go to
guide,
parenting seminar,
we go to
join
parenting
parenting
seminar,
groups,
join
and so on and
parenting
so
groups,
forth.
and so on and so forth.
So these are some
So
of the characteristics
these
of
are some of the characteristics of this
figurehead fathers. I mean, go on.
figurehead fathers. I mean, go on.
But then let me stop here,
Okay,
inshallah.
sir.
Let me stop here, Ishaq.
Okay, sir. Sir, most of fathers, we have that belief that it is their mom they have the right to raise the children and not the fathers, because we believe that okay, they spend 9 months in their belly, they have time with them at home, they understand their emotions, you understand, and they also breastfeed them. So most fathers believe that it is the right of the mothers to raise children and not the father. Now, if you agree with this, how can this be changed? And if you don't agree with this too, sir, what do you see to this? And how can this be changed, sir?
Now, to start with, I don't agree with
I
that.
don't agree with that.
So, parenting is the responsibilities of both parents, the father and the mother. Now, when you talk about the mother being the one to carry the pregnancy for 9 months, being the one to breastfeed the child, being the one to do this and that. Now, let me tell you that the father, in fact, everything starts with the father. In the first place, who impregnated that woman? Isn't it the father? So, parenting actually starts with the father. Who took the hand of the mother in marriage? Is it not the father? Who paid the bride price? So parenting actually starts with the father. But then it's just the extension of the role that makes the mother to be at the center of parenting, because the labor and other important aspect of child upbringing rests with them. However, the father is should be very much in charge. Now let me tell you about this. This idea that okay, the mother was the one who carried the pregnancy and so on, so they are responsible for taking care of the children or for bringing up the children. In Surah Luqman, Quran 31, verse 13. Allah said, وَإِذْ قَالَ لُقْمَانُ لِابْنِهِ وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ. And when Luqman is a righteous man, a waliullah. Some scholars says he's a prophet. Some said he's not a prophet. Let's just assume that he's a righteous man, a pious waliullah. So Luqman said to his son, وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ, and he was advising him, he was mentoring him, he was teaching him. Now that verse is verse 13. Then what now follows is verse 14, where Allah said, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ, and we have commanded man that he should be good to his parents. حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهَنًا عَلَى وَهَنٍ, because his mother, took his pregnancy, carried his pregnancy in agony, in pain upon pain. وَفِصَلُهُ فِي عَامَيْنِ, and she breastfed him for 2 years. And ishkuru li wal walidayka ilayya al-masir. So give gratitude to me, and be grateful to your parents too, because you return to me to account for all you did in the world. Okay, now look at these two verses. Allah talked about mother, but he talked about father first, where he said Luqman was advising his son. Okay, so now this is a verse that has to do with parenting. Allah was talking about mothers, and he talked about father at the same time, father being the first. So there's no point in saying that because the mother they are the ones that are close to the children, they should be the one to carry to raise the children, or bring the children. Let me give you a life example of myself. At a point in time, I actually had to resign from a job because of my children. Yeah, I had to resign from a job because I realized that the burden was so much on their mother. This is a job that allows me to only visit my family once in a week. When I Saturday evening, I'm at home. Sunday evening, I'm out. Okay. Sometimes I only come home once in 2 weeks. So I did this job for a while, and at a point in time, I tried to observe my children. Their mother has been doing a wonderful job, but then I felt that the vacuum is there. The fatherly vacuum is beginning to show up. At a point in time, the children were like, they want to be, hard to be they are hard to control. You understand? It's because the mother is, the mind of mothers their minds are very flexible. So I sense the danger in this, that if they should continue in this way, it will get to a point that they astaghfirullah, may Allah not make that happen. They may go wayward. I have to resign this job. I'll look for another job that will allow me to be close with my family. You understand? So parenting is sacrifice. I'm not saying every father should go and resign from their job. What I'm saying is that we should find the avenue to always be close to our family, to be physically present and emotionally present. So that is my take on the question of mothers being close to the children, and by virtue of that, they should be the one to raise or take care of the children. No, it is the duty of both parents. It is the duty of both parents. So that is how it should be.
Okay, sir. Now, if you agree that the role of parenting is with the father and the mother, now what can we do to salvage this situation? Because most fathers believe that okay, they are stressed out, they will go out from 8 a.m., 6 a.m. in the morning, and they'll come back and they are tired, and their mother have all these emotions. Because now, what you just said now, that mothers are more calm, they are more flexible, they are more resilient emotionally than fathers. But fathers tend to be more aggressive, more harsh, not calm. Now, these are the reasons why most of children tends to, go to their mothers than their fathers. Now, how can fathers manage their emotions? How can fathers, manage their emotions themselves and also communicate with their children? Because from what you said earlier, communication is key. Most fathers don't know how to communicate. We only instruct because we believe that we should command. We should just tell them,
Yeah.
oh yeah, go and do this. You understand? Based on how I was raised too in Lagos. I grew up in Lagos in Oshodi. And I'm sure you know how Oshodi used to be. Very rough. So if you if you're a father and you are calm, they see as a late here go. This one is not wise. Now, how can we change that narrative and how can it get better over time, sir?
Now, I have 2 points to make here.
Okay.
The first point is that we need to change this mindset or this orientation that fathers are harsh, fathers are they are tough. So because see, and I'll tell you the reason why that notion is there. I'll come to your question, but let me just correct this impression first. It is actually because mothers used to scare their children with their fathers. So many mothers actually they made the children to see the fathers as the bad guy. That I've been telling you since morning, let your father come. Let your father come. And the danger in this is that the child will begin to see the father as the monster. That, hey, so when daddy comes, the child is already crying. Like, my mom will tell my dad. Are you there?
Hello, sir.
Hello? Nam. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
I can.
Nam. Okay.
Yeah, hear you, sir. Yes, sir.
Nam.
Fathers are not necessarily always
harsh.
Okay.
Okay. So now, having said that, the nature of fathers is that fathers are logical reasoning beings. We are very logical, and mothers tend to be very emotional. That may seem the reason why we feel like mothers, they are more closer to the children than the fathers. Yes, it may be true. And the way mothers perceive their children is that they see their children, they see the world versus their children. They see the world in respect to their children, but fathers see their children in respect to the world. Meaning that when mother sees the world versus their children, they tend to be protective of their children. They don't want anything to happen to them. But fathers see the child in respect to the outer society, in respect to the world. So a father prepares the child for future purpose, so that the child can, can be able to maneuver his way or her way in the society. Now, how do we change this impression? How do we change the narrative that fathers are not forthcoming? It is only mothers that are doing the job. So what should father do? How can they get better? Now, the second point here that I want to make after making that first one, the second point here is that it is high time that we began to tell fathers too the need to learn parenting, to learn about parenting. And this task rests on us, most of us who actually have this understanding, especially parent coaches, because fathers, we like, you agree with me that we always have the feeling that we have good sense of judgment, and whatever we say or whatever we think is right regarding the children and what happens in the home. But it is not always true. It is not always the situation. It's not always true that we are right at all time. So it is important that we fathers to begin to learn about parenting. Especially, we should learn about parenting from the life history of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because if we don't have women to look up to as role models in parenting, we have the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to look up to. And the Prophet Islam said, "Khairukum, khairukum, khairukum li. The best of you is the one who is best to his family." And a Sahaba, Anas bin Malik, he narrated that I've never seen a man who was more compassionate to his family members than Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he was so close to them to the extent that Aisha radiallahu anha, when she was telling us the qualities of Prophet Muhammad, she said he's the best of husbands. Imagine. This is the prophet who never sleeps, who never rests. He's always, educating the ummah. Is either there out there at the battlefield, or is in the mosque educating the Muslims, or is there doing this. He's never be, he's not settled. He's always busy, yet he find the time for his own family. Sometimes he will even engage in sports. He will race with Aisha radiallahu anha. He plays with his family. He plays with his grandchildren. Sometimes he backs Hassan, backs him around, playing with him like a baby. You understand? So it is time that we fathers to begin to, begin to make our hearts soften for these children and not abandon the parenting task to the mother. So we need to learn about parenting. The responsibility rests on us, and the scholars of Islam too, they should begin to talk to fathers specifically, because like I can tell you, the narrative of parenting has always been directed towards the mothers. So it is time that they start to direct discussion. This discussion, there should be father seminars, fathers parenting seminar, getting it right. And I appreciate so much the organizers of this program who have deemed it fit to talk about fatherhood, things that are related to fathers in this conference. Wallah is the best. We need to learn a lot of things. I liken the role of a father to a driver. A father is like a driver. So, and he's the one to take the family members on a journey. What happens if the driver is missing in action? Or if the driver is sleeping while on the journey? What will happen? It will be chaos. So it is time that we also, as fathers, we also lay emphasis and prioritize the understanding of parenting, learning about parenting, and trying to implement whatever we have learned in terms of skills, in terms of principles, theories, okay, that we've come across, or we've gathered in the course of our parenting. Sure.
Earlier, I said that earlier you said that fathers can call their children, their wives, and seek opinions together. You understand? Now, don't you
Yeah.
see that kind of father has been turned, weak, or is not a man enough? Because on a normal day, we expect that father should anything anything that the father says, it is bam. It is, you understand, it is bad. Now, if we now have such fathers, in this our Nigeria, the fathers that takes instructions, or take advice from his children or from his wife, how can we go back to that era whereby fathers will sit with their children and they will make decisions, so that fathers will not be forcing their own opinion, their own idea on their children? How can that be, how can that be introduced, sir?
Now, you
Now,
said,
you said, uh,
won't the father be
won't
seen
the
as weak if he takes advice from his children? Who is calling him weak? Why do we have to live our life to please some other people? Where is this belief even
where is
coming
this
from?
belief even coming from?
So our culture,
Our culture,
when we mix
when we mix
Islam
Islam
with culture, with our own cultural belief, this is what it leads to. When we mix up Islamic culture with our cultural beliefs, in the Yoruba culture, it is believed that the man is the head of the house. Fine, Islam says so. It is also believed that the man is the leader. Fine, Islam says so. Uh, but it is believed that the man of the house cannot make mistake. and his judgment is final. But hey, no one is perfect. I talked about the Prophet Islam seeking advice from his own Sahaba, the best of mankind, after Allah. After Allah is the Prophet for we Muslims. So yet he still seeks advice. He sits with his own Sahaba. Imagine what you remember what happened in the battle of Kandak. Yeah, was it battle of Kandak, where the Sahaba they were preparing for a battle. The Kuffar wanted to fight the Muslims. So the Prophet Islam actually asked the Sahaba, in this kind of situation, what should we do? Should we go out to fight them, or we just allow them come into Medina? So each Sahaba was giving his own opinion. Somebody said, let us go out. We can't allow those kuffar to come in. They will kill our wives and children. So let's go out to go and meet them and fight. Another Sahaba was like, see, Prophet Islam, let them come in. Let them come in, because if we should leave the city, they may find a way to enter the city behind us. So let us be in the city and fight them while they come to us. Well, it was Salman al-Farisi who said, Ya Rasulullah, me I'm a Persian, and we have this war tactics. If issues like this come up, what we do in Persia is to dig a trench. Around the city, so that it will be difficult for the enemies to penetrate into the city. And that was what the Prophet and the Sahaba did. He took the advice of Salman al-Farisi and they dig a trench around the city. And the Kuffar, when they came to attack the Muslims, they found a trench, and it was surprising to them. It was a very strange war tactics that they never came across in their life. So that was how that battle became lost for them at the beginning, even before it started. And in fact, the battle never took place. Okay, so we should always seek opinion from our family members. We should not see ourselves as the mini god in the house. Yes, we are leaders. Fathers are leaders, and to a large extent, we have good sense of judgment. The good ones among the fathers, so not all fathers. I've said about this in the beginning. So, but even at that, there's nothing wrong in seeking our opinion of our family members. In fact, we are training them. By doing that, we are training them to be able to live their own life after our demise. After we must have lived them, after we must have left them in the world, probably because due to death. May Allah grant us long life, every one of us. So if we leave them in the world, they will be able to live their own life, because we will have established that habit of consultation. We will have established it in the family. And this is what I tell parents actually. That see, always hold family meetings in your house. Try to hold family meetings. Okay, try to hold family meetings. I tell parents, do this. It's very important. It strengthens love in the home, and it makes your children to it sensitizes them. It gives them leadership traits, leadership skill. It gives them sense of responsibilities and how to determine, how to decide on important issues. In fact, some friends that I've given this advice to, they came back telling me that see, it's working fine, because now their children, they are now thinking maturely. So what they do, what I used to tell parents to do is to have a day in the month, hold a meeting, you the father, the mother, and the children. No, it's not that kind of big family meeting that we used to do, like everybody come down from wherever they are to have the meeting. This one is just between the father, mother, and children. So you pick a day, you have the meeting, the father runs the meeting. Then the following meeting, maybe after 2 or 3 meetings, you can make one of the child the head of the meeting to run the meeting, the family meeting for that day. So you can allow the child to run the family meeting for that day, so as to train him on leadership skill, and to also make him to strengthen the love in the family. So now some parents, alhamdulillah, they've been practicing this, and some came telling us that it's working fine, because even now they are appointing their children as secretaries in the family meeting. So the eldest child is the secretary for this month, the coming month, another child is the secretary for the meeting, and they table all issues that they have to talk about. Maybe the issues of house chores, rivalry between the siblings, somebody abused somebody, or there's a quarrel between one or two, between brothers or between the children, between the one or two of the children. So they table all these issues, the issue of ibadah and so on and so forth, tahajjud. They discuss all these agenda points one after the other in that meeting. So now, fathers who do this, what do you call them? Are they models or figureheads? It is figurehead father that will take decision without consulting anybody, thinking that he's the head of the family. That is wrong. But models, they build their children for future purposes. They build their children so that they can stand alone, they can be independent by the time they grow up. So we shouldn't live our life to please other people or to please our cultural, traditional beliefs. It is nothing wrong to sit with our family and consult them on matters, to communicate with them, to ask them their opinions. It is never wrong in Islam. So what is important is that these consultations should be directed in such a way that it is beneficial. It's not just frivolities, like just talking, joking. So it should be a serious one. Then when you make a decision in that meeting, rely on, like Allah told the Prophet Sallam, "Washawirhum fil amri," consult your Sahaba in matters. So is azamta. Then when you take decision, fatawakkal ala Allah. Then rely on Allah. In Allah yuhibbul mutawakkilin, and Allah loves those who rely on Him. So this is it. We should, in fact, it's necessary that we consult our family members on matters that concern every one of us, or matters that even concern their own life too. We should not always take a natural decision. It's wrong.
Okay, sir. Now, sir, most fathers want their children to be doctors, to be lawyers, based on what they want, not what that children's want. Because they will tell you that, oh, I've been there. I of that. I've been in that shoe. I was once there. I understand better. I would want. I have been in this world before you came. So there. So some children tends to follow that notion that, okay, true, their fathers are right. They have been there before they are born, and now should parents also seek guidance too, like, oh no, try to understand the weakness and the strength of their children. Now, how can such parents, and like you have said that some parents are absent here, present there, how can such parents learn about the weakness and the strength of their children? How can they meet up so that these children in the later future will not be problems to the family and to the society at large, sir?
Now, you mentioned an interesting point, and that is parents wanting their children to live their own dream. LIVE, to live their own dream. What they could not be, they want their children to be that. Or what they wanted to be and they could not be. So they want their children to become that. There's nothing wrong if you persuade your child as a father that you want him to be this or that. And if the child agrees, then it's fine. I mean, if it resonates with the dream of that child too, then it's fine. But when you force a child to follow a particular line of profession or career, which is against the child's dream and ambition, then you are damaging that child's personality. You are damaging the child's future. He may become accomplished. He may become a renowned professional in that career that you want him to do. For instance, doctor. But then, what happens to his own ambitions? What happens to his own fulfillment, life fulfillment? You see, we must try to understand the interest and passions of our children, and it takes Allah's grace and our own observation to be able to understand our children. But we must try as much as possible to understand them. And understanding them actually means that we take cognizance of their dreams their passions and their interests. And we should see how that aligns with what they want to become in the future. Now, every child has his own ambition. We should know this. Every child has his own dream. That dream may not be the same with our dream. In that case, we should not wrestle the reign of that child's life with him. What we can do is to advise, is to mentor, is to guide. Let that child grow within his own natural space. Let the child grow within his own ambitions, and we will see that we have raised a responsible and productive member of the society. But when we force children to live our own dream, live, to live our own dream, what will happen is that one, we will have damaged that child's self-esteem. He will be living his life to please other people, and that is a recipe. Is one of the recipe of depression, which can lead to suicide and all this form of health issues. When somebody is actually living his own life to please other people, so that is one. Secondly, is that we have robbed that child of the benefit of living a fulfilled life. So he feels that he's unfulfilled, and because of that, he will hate those parents till the rest of his life. Whenever he sees other people doing what he had wished to be, what he had wished to do, when he see other people doing it, he will feel like, oh, it was my parent that didn't allow me to do this. This question you asked me, I've I was in a forum whereby it was discussed, and somebody actually said what he did was to hide his ambition from his father, because the brother is from a rich family, alhamdulillah, and the father was insisting that he must be an accountant, because the father was an accountant, a renowned one for that. So, but he said, okay, he went to the university, took accounting course, you understand, and he finished that 4 years. After his service year, he went back to the school, enrolled himself, got admission to the university to read the course that he actually wants. By that time, the father was like, oh, you have finished your service now. Come and work. Come on. He said, Father, I still want to do some things. I want to get some professional skills. I mean, I want to write some professional exam and so on and so forth. This was how this brother lived for the next 4 years. He read the course that he actually wants to read. So when he graduated, he established himself in that other course. It was later, much more later, that the father realized that, oh, this my child has abandoned my dream of him becoming an accountant. So we should not allow our children to live to live our dream. We can persuade them, we can talk to them. Yes, if they reason along with us and they agree, fine. But if not, let's leave them. So long as whatever they want to become in life is not haram, is not like is against Islam. No, if it's not against Islam, leave them. Let them be what they want to be. That is their own personal fulfillment. That is their own life. Let them live it. Okay, we only have to guide them. We can't force them. We can't force them, especially when your child has reached the age of maturity. And for Islam, maturity is when a child is 14 or 15. At that age, you can't force a child anymore. You only have to advise, mentor, guide. Because when you force that child, it's like you are trying to bend a dried fish. It will break. It's either the child leaves the home or remains under your care, remains under your dominion or under your territory, living a life of depression. So that is my own answer to that question. I don't know if I touched all aspects of that question. I think there's an aspect I haven't touched. Please, if there's any, let me know, please.
Okay, all right, sir. Now, sir, in line with what you said, that that the fathers are meant to, guide their children, mentor them, and advise them. Now, if you mentor a child, you try to guide a child. Oh, don't do this. This is wrong. This is wrong. Because, like you said, once they've attained the age of 14, 15, Islamically, we can't force them to do anything. Now, what are the effective ways that fathers can discipline or correct their child without beating them, shouting, beating them, flogging them, embarrassing them? Because normally fathers are, are used to beating, with cane, with slapping, eating. What are the effective ways we can mentor and guide these children without eating them or, abusing them?
Now, Alhamdulillah. Child discipline in Islam is a topic entirely on its own. Now, and specifically for fathers, like I said the other time, we fathers too should not allow ourselves to become monsters. I said mothers are very emotional. Many of them won't want to beat the child when the father is around, or when they know the father will soon be around. So they will scare the children. When your father comes, I will tell him what you have done. So for the children, the father is like the bad guy. So when he comes, Wala has come. But then we need to change this narrative. We are not monsters. We are loving set of human beings. I can tell you, fathers, we are 11 set of human beings. But then we make our society, we listen to our society and made our society turn us to what we are today. Like oh gbọ́dọ̀ gbà o, àwọn ọmọ yẹn ó gbọ́dọ̀ gbà fún wọn o. You must not give in to those children o. You must make sure you for what reason? Now, on the issue of beating, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he gave us a very good lesson on that. Do you know that the Prophet ﷺ never beat a child till he left this world? He never beat a child till he left the world. But then we are not Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We can't say that we should not beat our children. However, there are steps that we can take, like you mentioned, like you asked. There are steps that we can take to discipline our children without beating them. One, we must make the fear of Allah the base of our parenting. When a child has the fear of Allah, he has the conscience of Allah. This child understands that when he offends his parents, by extension, he is offending Allah. And Allah will question him on that. So the consciousness of Allah will make a child to refrain from offending the parent in the first place. Now, if he still went ahead to offend the parent or commit an error or make a mistake, another thing we can do is to use the discussion method. And what do I mean? Talk with that child. Bring the child closer to you. If he has done something wrong, call him. Do you see what you have done? How would you feel if your own son did this to you? Sometimes you just have to raise the reasoning scope of these children. Let them put themselves in your shoe. I'm your father. You did this. You did this, and I'm really hurt. Imagine if your own son should do that to you. How will you feel? It's because we fathers don't talk to our children in a mature way anymore. That's why we also resort to beating and slapping. So when we talk to their sense, talk to their emotions, then that child will feel it, and he will want to turn a new leaf. He will want to desist from that action. So we should use discussion method. Talk to our child, talk to our children. Whenever they do something wrong, let us show our displeasure. Let's show that we are not happy, we are disappointed. And there's a principle that we can always follow. The principle is FBI. When using the discussion method, FBI. Well, I don't mean FBI in America. I mean F stands for feelings. B stands for behavior. I stands for impact. Now I explain all this. FBI is a principle to use in discussion method whereby you get positive results, inshallah. Now, F, the feeling. Let your child know the feeling that whenever he has done something, let the child know that you are not happy. Ibrahim, I'm very disappointed in you. I'm highly displeased. Do you see what you have done? Now, that is the feeling. Now, let's go to behavior. We touch the behavior too. Like, see, you lied to me. That is the behavior. You lied to me. I'm very displeased. I'm not happy because you lied to me. Now, what is the impact of that behavior? The I stands for impact. So what is the impact? Tell the child, Ibrahim, you made me feel bad because you lied to me. Now, don't you think that don't you want me to always trust you? That's the impact. Don't you want me to always trust you again? When you use this method to talk to a child, the child will, know how the child will also reason along with you, and the child will be remorseful. Now, discussion method. Another method that we can also use is the consequence, principle of consequence. Prophet Sallam, he said that keep a whip in the house, like keep a cane in the house where everybody can see it, as that will serve as a deterrence for the children. The Prophet didn't say we should beat them, but he said we should keep a cane, keep a whip in the house, as that will serve as a deterrence. So when the children know the consequence of the actions, that hey, if I do something wrong, my daddy will use that cane on me, then they will control themselves. They will not want to do that thing that will make us to beat them. Now, when it's now get to although I'm not saying that we cannot beat our children, but it has to do in the extreme cases. Islam allows us to beat them only in extreme case, in extreme when it's extreme. Maybe a child, maybe the child stole something that doesn't belong to him. That is extreme. And then even before that, we must have warned the child. We must have warned the child. We must have shown our displeasure before resorting to beating. And now let me tell you, beating of the child for we fathers, even mothers too, beating of the child is not necessarily because we want to correct the child. Beating of our children actually came up because of we are angry, because of our anger issue. So we are trying to vet our anger. And when you discipline your child when you're angry, it's wrong because you divert the attention of the child from that wrong thing that he did to your own emotion. So now it is about you, not about the child anymore. So that is one. Secondly, is that when you our inability to be patient with our children sometimes lead to us, beating them, hitting them and slapping them. Because see, Islam encourages that we should be calm. Somebody went to the Prophet Islam and he said, Ya Rasulullah, Awsini, what message of Allah, advise me. The Prophet Islam said, La Tekdab, do not be angry. For other than Miraran. He said that 3 times because the man was repeating, please advise me. The Prophet said, don't be angry. He asked again, the Prophet said, don't be angry, then left. It's important that we work on our anger issue. And one of the techniques that we got from the recommendations of the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu is that whenever we are angry, we should just change our location. When you are standing, and on that in that position of standing, you became angry with your child, just sit down. When you are sitting, stand up. When you are inside the house, go out. When you're outside the house, come in. When you change your location, it will give you a little time to be calm. It will give you the opportunity, the opportunity for calmness to restore into your system. Because when you're angry, what happens is that shaitan comes to you and it tries to walk over your emotion. It tries to play with your emotion. Like, oh yeah, slap that boy. See what he did. Slap him. Shaitan talks to you. Allah said it in the Quran. Alevi you was wisu, fisu duri nas. He whispers in your mind, oh yeah, gbama eleti. You nonsense with the Shaitan is the one controlling you. So, but when you change your position and you say, I was with live Shaitan regime, you see that you become. Instead of beating that child, you rather prefer to talk to the child to correct him. Okay, so these are ways that we can discipline our child without actually beating or yelling at them. There are still a lot of things to say about this. Like I said, it's a topic entirely. May Allah give us the knowledge, the good knowledge, the sound knowledge of how to relate with our children.
I mean, sir. Now, sir, look, also, sir, fathers has been seen that they are not competent to raise a child. Okay, now, I mentioned that maybe the wife is not around, maybe the mother traveled or divorced, or the wife is not living with the father. So, neighbors of friends will tell me that, Baba yen o le tomo yen, because they've seen fathers that they are not emotionally okay, they are not competent to raise a child. Now, what is your opinion on this, sir? And how can this wrong notion be changed, sir?
Now, well, I will agree that a father cannot successfully raise a child if the father is the busy type, very busy type that he doesn't have time for the children. Then Islamically, it is advisable that if it's a case of divorce, it is advisable that the children should be in the care of the mother. And if it is a case of death, maybe the man is a widower, it is advisable that he gets married to another woman so as to take care of the children, or he takes the children to his family, maybe his mother or his aunt, to take care of them. That is when the father is very busy and doesn't have the time. But then, uh, because of the nature of the responsibilities of a man, it makes it difficult to actually raise children all alone because he has to go out to work. While he's there at work, it's difficult for him to, it may be difficult for him to oversee the affairs of the children. However, this is not to say that a man cannot raise children, cannot raise his children. I've seen a widower who raised his own children himself. He didn't get married on time. He got married much more later, but he raised those children. Although they were not kids, they're not very little kids like that. They were like teenagers, but Alhamdulillah, he was able. Allah helped him. He was able to raise those children well, excellently. And this notion that man cannot raise a child is wrong. Even look at the prophets. Look at the prophets of Allah, alayhi salam, all the messengers of Allah that Allah mentioned in the Quran, and Allah, mentioned them together with their children. You see that mothers are missing in those stories. Look at Luqman and his son when he was advising him. The Quran did not mention the mother. He only mentioned Luqman as the father and his own son. When the Quran talked about the story of Yaqub and his children, the Quran did not talk about the mothers of those children. It talked about the father and the children. When the Quran was talking about Ibrahim and his son Ismail, it didn't talk about the mother Hajara in that story. It was just father and the son. When the Quran was talking about uh, um, uh, uh, I want to remember this prophet too that was mentioned, but I'll remember later. So what I'm saying in essence is that you can't say a father cannot raise a child. No, he can if he has the ample time. See, there are some fathers that don't even go to work. I mean, they don't work outside. They are stay-at-home fathers. They work in the nature of their work doesn't require that they should go out. So that kind of father can raise a child. And this is what I used to tell parents. In the case whereby father and mothers are working, if the father and the mother is working, maybe the father he has flexibility with taking care of the children, then he should also try to do that to help. If the mother must go out and the father is inside doing his own work inside, he should help with the upbringing of the children, since he is much more closer to them. See, the society we find ourselves today is dictating something different to us. This is 21st century, and we need to understand the situation, the global situation of our society, the contemporary society. At times, you don't have to go out to go and work. So if it happens that you are indoor, maybe you are a programmer and all your work is on the computer, and they pay you, your companies pay you. You don't have to go out. But your wife is a medical doctor that always have to go out to the hospital every day. So you are more closer to the children. So you should take care of the children. That is how it should be. That is understanding. That is what we call understanding in parenting. Working as a team in parenting. You work as a team. You need to agree who does this between the father and the mother. They both have to agree who does this and what time. Okay, who takes the children to the school? Who brings them back home? If it's more convenient for you to do something else, you shouldn't always have to be the mother all the time. And these women, they are trying wallahi. There was a time that I was at home for maybe more than a week. I was just at home because I had leave from work. Then I was at home throughout. So I was like, see, let me even challenge myself. Right? So I told my wife, let me handle all these things that I used to do. Let me just undo it, maybe for 3 days. Let me just undo it. Let me cook. Let me wash, let me do everything, let me take care of the children. You just relax. I did it for one day and I almost collapsed. The following day, I had fever. I had malaria fever. The following day, I got ill because the first day I tried to do that, I became so much tired after cooking, washing, taking bathing for the children, doing this, doing that. So I asked my wife, so this is what you do every day? And she was like, this is even little now, it's even small. I do more than this. I was like, subhanallah. So these mothers are trying their best. They are doing everything. And this is actually giving some of them mental issues, giving them mental problem. It's giving them emotional problems because they have some of them have to go to work and also manage the home. So we fathers should always step in when necessary. We should always step in to assist them. Okay. So I think that is how things should be done, in my own opinion.
Okay, sir. Now, okay, sir. Okay, now, in my own house now, I want to use my own house for as an example now. Now, okay, my family, I share the house chores. I take some, my wife takes some, and my first daughter takes some chores that we do. Now, anytime my dad is coming, maybe to pay us a visit, you know, I would not want him to see what I'm doing because maybe I fetch water, my wife cooks, my small daughter watch this play. So he be like, you wait here, see what Yanni did. You are too gentle. You are not even white.
Subhanallah. Hmm.
You understand? Because
Hmm.
because I lost my mom when I was very small. So he raised up for about 8 years without a mom. So he was one that raised up at least we were five. Five of us without a mom. So now he expects us to do the same thing. No, normal thing that a father should not even do anything. He should just go and come back from work and sit down and relax because he's very tired. At least he's a man of the house. Now, even his friends see me as a boy Jeffo. You understand that? Now, how can I, as a father in this environment, change that narrative, even in my family, even among my friends? How can I change that narrative? What are the method? What are the strategies I can use in my family and outside my family? What are the method I can use?
Now, mashallah, jazakallah khaira. I'm happy to hear this. I'm happy to see fathers like you. Yeah, so we are many in our club. Alhamdulillah. See, like I said the other time, we shouldn't live our life to please other people. We should live our life in the way we understand it to the best of our own knowledge. That is one. Now, regarding family matters, the dad is coming, and you're like, hey, if my father sees me doing all these things, it will be like, perhaps for that time being, there are two things that can be done. The first is to explain. Yes, don't be apologetic about it. When he sees you doing that, explain to him. This is Islam. There's nothing wrong with this. Daddy, there's nothing wrong with this. Explain to him. But if you won't understand, anytime he's coming, you can leave whatever you are doing. That may make it look as if you have eaten a four, like you said. But so you can just suspend it during that time if they won't understand, because they may not understand truly. And their own society, their own era in which they live and grew, is different from ours of today. Okay, so you can either explain and with evidences. Islamically, this is not wrong, this is nothing. But if they won't understand, then you think that it may cause problem in the family. Now, causing the family ties is even more stronger than this. Okay, so when you see me when you see me sweeping the house, is that what will cause problem in the family? Okay, fine. Anytime you are coming, I will not sweep. Okay, so don't sweep the house when your family member is coming, and when they are out of the house, then do whatever you want to do to assist your wife and your children. That is one. Secondly, is that uh, I think we should be more bold to do some of these things without even bothering about it, without giving a damn about it. So long as we understand that what we are doing is right, and that is how to actually encourage younger ones coming after us. That see, marital life is a life of responsibilities, life of cooperation, understanding. You assist yourself, you help yourself. You shouldn't like cut it. Like this is your own duty, this is my own. Yes, Allah has given us our own primary roles. Oh. For men, we have to provide for the women, and for the women, they have to take care of the house. This is our primary roles, which Allah Himself has established. Sometimes we may have to go into others' terrain. Like let me assist you with what you are doing. Okay, maybe for instance, the wife is cooking. She's cooking and she has a baby. The baby is crying and she's cooking. What she's cooking is about to get burnt. We can assist with the cooking and she goes to attend the baby, or we help her attend to the baby while she continues with her cooking. So all these things shouldn't be a big deal for us. Okay, it shouldn't be a big deal. So we have to we don't. It's actually because of our cultural beliefs and our cultural setting that make us think this way. So for me now, I make it a practice. Also for myself, I make it a practice to make sure that I'm the one that goes to the market to buy the food stuff, and I'm doing fine in that. I'm doing well actually. I have customers for virtually everything I buy. I have customers for pepper, for meat, for fish, for anything I buy in the market. I have customers, and it's nothing wrong. I don't feel it. I don't even feel it. It's nothing wrong. Yeah, and it's not as if I'm making my wife to be lazy. No, she would have done it without even me. She would have done it. But then I just felt like, see, this woman too is busy now. We're not sure I need got shit. Let me just, and I'm free. Maybe I'm free. I had my time. I can just go to do that. And when I'm coming from work, I have to pass through the market. So what if I have to pass through the market to getting home? Why should I allow my wife to still come to the market that I am already coming from? So I'll just buy what I want to buy. Call her on the phone. What do you need here? I buy it and I take it home. So it's high time that we started to change this narrative through examples by living this our life the way we understand it, without trying to please somebody. Okay, and I think that is how we should go actually.
Sir, what are the platform? What are the method? What are the let me say ways that
Now, I'm
fathers
sorry for
learn
cutting. Sorry
parenting from?
for.
Because most fathers will believe that
Assalamu
they are too
alaikum.
busy for that.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Oh, alaikum.
I'm so sorry. Our speaker,
Listen,
we like they are like he had technical issues with his. I think he had technical issues. So I'll be adding him now. So he's gonna join the discussion now. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
okay.
Alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Now we've
Now,
been
alaikum salam.
expecting you.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah, it was a technical difficulty. I couldn't access my messenger and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we're glad to have you here now. So,
Glad to be here too.
yeah, but I used to we take over.
Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, hello, sir. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome,
Yeah,
sir. Now, sir,
thank you.
sir, we have said a lot of things. We have discussed at length before you. Now, sir, what are the challenges of our fathers in this 21st
Yes,
century, sir?
yes, I'm
Hello,
listening.
sir.
I'm
Yes,
listening.
sir. Yes, sir.
Fatherhood in 21st century. Oh, wait, what's going on now?
Hello, sir. In this 21st century, sir.
Yes. Like, can you please repeat the question? You said fatherhood in 21st century.
Okay, sorry. I'll go again, sir. I mean, what are the challenges that fathers face in this 24th century parenting, sir? Challenges
Oh,
fathers
okay.
face
Challenge,
in
challenges.
21st century.
Well, thank you again for having me. Well, I think, and this is not like a hardcore answer. One of the challenges is that we were not prepared uh, for the role of fatherhood just based on our own experiences as a child. We are living in a kind of like a different era, right? The social changes, the social norms are different from our fathers' owns, our grandfathers' owns. They are the one that we look up to. So the first challenge is that the father, like, we don't have, we didn't have a huge expectation of what fatherhood would mean in the first 21st century. So, and many of us just think, what we should do, ọkùnrin onulorile, just go out, find livelihood, provide for the family, and everything else gets sorted out. And plus, we used to live in like collective setting where there are lots of families around, lots of help around. So yeah, we were just not trained for 21st century fatherhood because that wasn't the way society worked back when we were growing up. So I think the mindset is the challenge. Many of us have had to like learn as we grow, like learn as we go. Oh, yeah, I should be doing this. I should be doing this. So I think lack of preparedness. We were not prepared. I think that's the major challenges because once we get ahead of that mindset that, oh well, child raising is only for the mother, or I just have to show my child that he has to top up as a man, and well, I don't really have anything to do with the female child because she has a mother. Then once we get over those mindset, then a lot of other challenges is little because what it needs is just education, right? On our part. I hope that makes sense a little bit.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Now, the father, what are the roles of a father in the overall success of a child? Because
Assalamualaikum.
we have
Sorry for
believed
interrupting. I'm
that
very
the father.
Assalamualaikum.
Oh, sorry.
I'm very sorry for interrupting. So, brother Yusuf, you can I like to continue with
Sir,
Mr. Abdul Fattah from where you stopped, then move to Mr. Toyib Adejumo, so you can ask them questions.
uh, okay. Now, so okay, I was trying to say that what are the things that so sorry. Okay, what are the overall success of a father to his child? What are the things that the father can say? Oh, this is how I can, influence children to make them successful in life. Because most fathers just feel that it is just their duty to pay school fee, feed them, and clothe them. Every other thing is for their mother. Because like normal how they said, Omo buruku iti yai, yito daniti baba. You understand that? Now, what can the father also do his own way to show that yes, also there. I am the father. I want to make sure that my child is also successful in the way that he is trying to compete with the mother. What are the things that the father can do, sir?
Naam, Jazakallah khairan. I'll actually cite one of the sayings of Ali radiallahu anhu in this regard. Ali radiallahu anhu, he said, play with your children for the first 7 years of their life. That is from 0 to 7 years. He said, teach them for the next 7 years. That's more like from 7 to 14. And he said, advise them for the next 7 years. That's from 14 to 21 and thereabout. Now, this rule these stages, this expression of Ali actually talks about child upbringing stages from an Islamic perspective. When your child is still 0 to 7, he's still a child that needs to that is a playmate, it is a friend. So a father should play the role of a playmate, a friend with the child and this particular stage. So you should be more fun-filled. You should be gentle. And there's an hadith of the Prophet Islam where he says that whoever has a child should also behave like one. Like if you have a child, also behave like a child with that your little child. Okay, so sometimes this might require you playing with the child, running about, chasing yourself, rolling on the floor, and so on. And this is nothing new because the Prophet Islam always he did this with his grandchildren, as I would say. In the second stage, the father is to play the role of a teacher. Okay, that's the next stage, the second stage, where Ali said, teach your children for the next 7 years. So the father is playing the role of a teacher for the next 7 years. That is between the 7 and 14. And why we say a teacher, it means that it is during this stage that the father teaches the children morals, Islamic teachings, and many other things that the child needs to know at this particular stage. And in fact, this stage is, this when you look at our education, it's also structured to go in line with these stages. Because when a child is between 7 and 14, this is when the child is actively in primary school, perhaps is in maybe primary 2 or 3. Then by the time he's 14, he's already in secondary school. This is the most complex time, the most complex stage of development, mental development for a child. So the father has to be close. He has to teach the child, and whatever I used to tell parents, whatever knowledge that your child acquires, even us, look at us, whatever knowledge we have been formed when we were from 0 to 15, 0 to 14 or 15. Any knowledge that you have after this 15 year, after you've got 15, is actually like a top up. Because by this time your knowledge base is formed, your mindset is formed. Whatever is coming is just coming to add to what has been built, the foundation that is there already. So the father should assume the role of a teacher when the child is in this second stage, meaning from 7 to 14. And when the child is from 14 is when the child is 14, the father should assume the role of an advisor or a mentor. So he mentors the child when it is 14. And this mentoring has to do with more of guiding, advising. So at this particular stage, your child who can think is already a rational being. His intellectual capacity has developed to a certain extent. So you just have to give him the tools to grow within his own intellectual terrain. So you mentor him, you advise him. This is not the time to start beating or to start instructing. And I used to tell parents that it's saddening that today we raise children from 0 to 20 years, children who are 20 years, but they don't know anything about life. They don't know how the life works. They don't know about politics in the workplace, politics in the family, politics in the society. When I say politics, I don't mean APC, PDP. I mean how things are being done. They don't know. And it is because these children are used to our instructive, our directive style of parenting. We direct a lot. Do this, do that. Don't do this, don't do that. There should be more of why you should do this, why you should not do that. Okay. At this particular stage, it is the stage of letting your child to understand why he shouldn't do this, why he shouldn't do that, or why he should do this and why he should do that. Not do this, do that. So, we should begin to move away from being directive to mentoring of our children. So the father should assume the role of a mentor when the child is in this third stage. So back to your question, if we want to be successful in parenting as fathers, we must make sure that we take these rules seriously. Being a friend to our child, at least within the first 7 years of their life. Second, being a teacher to our child, especially when this child is between 7 and 14, and being a mentor to our child when our child is 14 upward. So when we take this role seriously, we will see the impact of our fatherhood, the impact of our parenting as fathers on our children, inshallah.
Um, okay, sir. Mr. Jumo. Mr. Jumo,
Yes.
is it there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here.
I think he's trying to
Can
come
you,
out.
can you hear me?
Mr. Jumo.
Yes, I'm
Okay,
here.
sir.
Mhm.
Sir. Okay, sir. What do you have for the father?
No, no, I'm
It's,
sorry. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
I think his network is cracking.
Okay. Is
Okay, I
it?
think what he's trying to say is that what is the just like he has the other speaker that what is the role of fathers in the overall success of a child?
Oh yeah, I think the first speaker, Brother Abdul Fattah, hit the nail in the head. I think he mentioned pretty much everything that I would say, especially bringing in the Ali's advice regarding the stages and how a father should, orient himself towards those stages. So I think if I would just say being present, right? Being present is very, very important. Uh, and that cannot be overstated. Like while we are finding livelihood and things like, we should be present in the lives of our children as father, and set examples as role model. Like our children, they really look up to us. Children, they look up to us, whether it's a boy or a girl, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And in life, I just want to speak to the girl that, like, in life, a girl psychologically would always look later in life look for companionship in someone that resembles his father, a father. So that should be a wake up call for fathers. Like, you have to be present in both in your kid's life, and then the question might be, so how do I be present? And that's in, like, you taking interest in what they're doing. So, for example, they are in their children, they are in their playing time, which of course is like from birth to like 6, 7. Kids, they don't have sense at that time. Everything is played to them. And as a father, we should know that and then orient towards that. And this means, like, you know thinking back on your own childhood. What are the things that are your wants, and then making sure that your children are getting that. Also, during those playing, I know it's time for play, but we can also make sure that those playing are, like, informed by meaningful things. So, like, learning, right? So I know the way Nigeria education works is like, I may be wrong, like a 3-year-old child goes to school and then they write 1 to 100. Those are not developmentally appropriate. But there are ways that we can do that. Like, there are ways if you are the parent that has, like, screen time, like a 1 hour, 2 hour screen time for your child, then you want to make sure that everything, like, not everything, almost everything that the child is watching is one way or the other educative. Right? It's preparing them for the next stage of life. So you are reading ABCs with them, so that, because you're doing that, when they start going to school, they come back and want to tell you what's going on. And they want to test their knowledge on you. They want to show you that I know how to do this. Do you know how to do this? Things like that. So as you're playing with them, not only education wise, like Islamic wise, right? So we don't wait until our child becomes 7, 8, or 10 and then start telling them the serious. No, we find fun ways of actually making stories interesting to them from that age, and putting Allah in them and asking them questions, right? So, you see a cat, you ask your child. I'm just giving, like, bit examples. I know we can find different ways of using this. You know, just ask your child if he or she is going somewhere and he sees a cat, or she sees a cat that is very thirsty. what would she do, or what would he do? So we take it above, I'm praying. You see that I'm praying now. Used to come and say Allah Akbar. We start the ethics and the meanings and the goals of Islam. We started at an early age. We are not just focused on, okay, you have to memorize this because now your brain is fresh, but we inculcate those morals and ethics right at a very young age, right? Like our boys, uh, we teach them when you're very young age what masculinity is. We don't teach them the toxic masculinity and say, oh, you don't cry, but we show them and how to show express the emotion. And this can only happen if we educate ourselves. So this is the back end. The front end is us being humble enough to know that we don't know everything, and there are certain things that we can learn from others or read from books, or just uh, the way Yoruba says, like, "Agojileni baba imoran," right? Deep reflection is the best kind of advice. So no one can advise you like you advise yourself. So we take a step back, right, and reflect on our own lives and on the knowledge that we have, and find meaningful ways to impact that. And I know this might be off topic, but it relates to that. The way you act with your wife, with their mother, goes a long way, right? They see that goes a long way. Children can be learning when the environment is toxic, right? There's trauma. They're going to be trauma. So whatever you're doing, if you're telling them to pray, to read the Quran, but every day there is a fight. Every day there is there is a struggle in the house. Children, they are very smart than more smart than we give them credit for. So they will take on to that. So we want to make sure that that like our children never see us like go all out, even when disagreement happens, because what is showing them is that, oh, when I have a disagreement with someone, this is how I handle it. I shout, I yell. So we want to make sure that we are covering both ends. We are impacting, but we are also not some of our lapses, because we are not perfect too, right? We don't want some of our lapses to be showing to them, right? So that they're taking that. And when we do something wrong, it's, oh, like I think my son once said to me, Dad, I think you made a mistake. You didn't do this as you. And I was like, oh, okay. Even that, I think I got it right, but I just wanted him to know that if I'm wrong, I can say yes, I'm wrong. Oh, I'm sorry about that, right? So, so that overall, each stage we have to make sure that we are preparing for our children for the other stage by implicitly putting those learning in there, right? So and then this is what the conference is about. We should not relegate, and I just wanted to restate that the overall parenting to the mom, like the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3, the alif batasa, and all of that. We may be busy, right? I understand that we may be busy, but we should, even if it's like a little bit of time when we have with our children, make sure you are making those fun things also educative. So that's what I would say for really, really young children, because that's the stage that my children are right now. I don't want to be an overreach and start saying, also when they become 17, this is what you should do. Inshallah, I may have some ideas, but I don't want to be overreach. So inshallah, so that I would focus myself to those early childhood stages, and what we want to do is maximize love and minimize stress, right? Maximize love and minimize stress. And yeah, if I made any sense.
Okay, sir.
But Yusuf, if you're saying something, we can barely hear you.
Naam, Assalamu Brother Yusuf, you are muted.
I don't know.
Kindly unmute your mic. Can you hear me? Buddha Yusuf?
I think he's frozen.
Okay. Assalamualaikum, Buddha Yusuf. Wow. That was his network. Yeah, I think I will just take over from this place till he comes in. So before he comes in, are you there, Buddha Yusuf? Okay, before he comes in, can you kindly let us say what are those advice that you have for fathers? What are those advice that we have for fathers? And aside from that, I think one of the questions that I have is that most of the time we see parent, like most of the time if you join a parenting group chat, you find mothers and they complain of should I say they make complaints about fathers not is it that some of them are trying to change their narrative. Some of them are trying to change the way they parent their children by being more attentive and being more attentive, being more intentional about their the way their parenting journey. But then they still have difficulty with these fathers. How can women encourage like we know we still some of them still have this role like most of them on that how can they try to um should I say change or try to motivate fathers to change the way they parent their children. So I'm going to start with Mr. Abdul Fattah Popola, then I'll move on to Mr. Tohib Adejumina. Thank you.
No, Jazakallah khair. Uh, my advice, my advice would be more of general. uh, I see fathers and mothers having problem, especially in uh, the aspect of understanding. I mean, in the aspect of reaching an agreement on how to parent the children. Marital life has to do with a lot of cooperation and understanding because these are two people coming from two different backgrounds with with different ideologies and perhaps sometimes cultural beliefs. So, but then Alhamdulillah, that now Islam is uniting these two people, then they should make Islam the basis of their parenting journey. Now, like I said, I see parents having problem reaching agreement on how to parent the children. So my advice is that parents should work as a team. Fathers and mothers should work as a team. They should be very cooperative and they should communicate every time. And perhaps whenever there's discord or a discord of any sort, they should not expose it to the children. It should be done privately. It should be addressed outside outside the knowledge of the children. So, like brother Tahib said, that these children are very smart. They pick a lot of things from us. They see us, they watch us, they observe us, they see what we do, and try to make that part of them as well. So we wouldn't want our children to like take that negative part from us where we have disagreements and they now say, okay, so this is how mommy and daddy settle their issue. They just fight it out. So we should be cooperative. We should communicate every now and then. Then we should always help one another in the parenting journey. Secondly, is that I've said this before when I was when I was answering the questions from the first brother Yusuf. So this is that the mothers should try to should not turn the children against the father by making him seems like a bad guy to them or like the monster in the house. Because the brother Yusuf he asked the question whereby he said that fathers being seen as that they are harsh and so on and so forth. So how do we change this narrative? So it starts with us fathers. First of all, making sure that we learn about this parenting. Parenting is key. I mean, is a art that we need to learn. So we learn about it. Secondly, is that mothers also should make the atmosphere loving, so that the children can see both of us as one. They can see both of us as working together for their betterment. So that is my advice for parents.
All right.
Exactly like her answer. So over to you, Mr. Dejumo.
Yeah, thanks, Brother Abdul Fattah. Well, so the question is, how can mom get dad to be on board
Yeah.
on intentional parenting and things like that? Well, well, the brothers will sue me for this, but I'm gonna open something for our sisters so that they can get to us. Uh, like I like to I like to use Yoruba adage a lot, so bear with me. They say, Yoruba things are familiar. Oh my God. Uh, they say I feel I feel a kibosi like feel a Joe, something like that. So the way information is conveyed is really matters a lot, right? So you may have the best of intentions, the things that you're saying may be great, but if you say it in a way that's not going to be received, well, it's just not going to be received. So I think the sisters, the mothers should find, they know their husband, they should find a way of putting it in their husband without him knowing, right? And then finding, because when you tell me, when the sister say, let's say my wife, for example, say, Sahib, you are not doing enough. I don't like the way you're doing with these children. I may feel defensive. Like, what do you mean? You think I don't like my own child? I don't want the best for my children. And when someone gets defensive, that's it. They're close up. There's nothing's gonna happen. So my advice to moms is that I know moms have Allah created them that way, like you know, nurture us and things. There's the way that you can get to your husband on this is find a time. There's a time and a place for everything. I love Surah to Luqman when Allah says, وَإِذْ وَإِذْ قَالَ لُقْمَانُ لِابْنِهِ وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ. Luqman look for a specific time. So there is a specific time for everything. So you look at that time when your husband is calm, not just after the junior or Abdullah done something, and then he said, "You see, that's what I'm saying. You don't pay attention." No, no. So just look for a time that is settled, probably after finishing a delicious meal, or we know that time or other time, which we know that very well, and then come in and explain to him, as by first saying that I really love the way you care for your child. That you are just this. I hope the brothers are not saying this, that you are just dismantling his shield. Praise him like, I know you want the best for these children, right? I know you are hustling and all that for all of. I know that. I know you really want the best. You have the best intentions for them. So this is what I'm thinking. Right? So you are not attacking him. You already put him in this high pedestal. He or she, he will not want to fall your hand at that time, because you already said like he's a good guy, like he wants the best, right? Yeah, like you already know that he wants the best for the children, and you already said that to him. Now, because it's like a sandwich, you put that first, and then you come to and say, you know what, this is what I've been thinking, this is what I've been reading, this is what I've been experiencing. Now, I would like you to, tell me, what do you think about this? Make it seem like you want to take his counsel, and then you just back that up. But I think we should be doing this, right? Or you see, I'm doing this. It would really mean a lot to me, and would be helpful for the child if you also come in this way. And then you make it very clear, right? And not an imposing way. Well, I know intentional parenting now. This will come. Let me tell you, you don't put it that way. You put it in a way like it's very calm, very soothing, and you explain to him why you want that. So having put your husband in this pedestal, the father, like, he will, like, that's from behavioral psychology, how to change people's behavior. So you praise the good side, and you say that he wants the best, and then you put this into him. You tell him about, and you can even come about with like kind of procedures in this, and some guidelines. For example, even like okay, I know she won't mind. My wife and I, we are two different people in our personalities. We share something, but and this is what I'm going to go back to this in the sense that she is like the contrary to the way it is, she's the disciplinarian. Like I can discipline, I can try to discipline, but she's disciplined. So sometimes she goes all out, not like, she's very firm with but I don't like it at that time. I don't like, I feel like, oh, what you're doing right now, that's not the best way to handle it. But I'm not going to say that at that point, or I'm not going to like try to rescue the kid from that. Yeah, I'm not saying she doesn't. I'm not like she yeah, because that would undermine our authority. Right. So, and I know that. So, how we would rather talk on the back end, this the reason why you should handle this and that. So that way we can be in synergy, right? And then and make your husband see that. Tell him, well, if there is also something that you think like I'm doing too much, I'm not doing it. Let me know. Give me feedback. Let's talk about it so that we can both be on the same team in raising a wholesome, beautiful children. You want your son to be like Umar. You want your daughter to be like Aisha. Let's work together so Allah can reward that. And miracle doesn't happen, right? وَأَنَّ سَعْيَهُ سَوْفَ يُرَى. Like your effort will be seen. So make those conversations an often one in your house. Not when there is no when no, what not when Abdullah just frustrated his life, not when outside of all that, find that time. I know it seems like brothers we don't listen. We listen when it's stuck in the right way. We may put up a guard or something like that, but we'll take sense. So, and I think it's very important that you ask that, because brothers don't a few, don't let me stereotype us, because a few would go to a conference about parenting. We hardly even go to conference about husbandhood. We just figure it out. But so you are in the best place to actually get this information to your husband. You are the best person to. So, and to do that, you need to come really, really calm down. Really chill pill, take away from, and then just find like specific strategic ways. I know sisters, you have your groups that they can, tell you more about this strategically. Butter him up, make him feel like the best father, and now get into him like, but we can do better. So I think that's that. And also understanding, before I close up, understanding different personalities. We don't want to, how do I put it? We don't want to fake our personality with our children. If you are a disciplinarian, there is a way you can be disciplinarian in a positive, intentional way that won't harm the child. If that's who you are, if like you're like factual person, this and this and that, good. You can use that to your advantage. If you are someone like me that cannot see someone cry and things like that, well, you're not going to be a permissive parent too. There is a way. Allah gives us our personalities. We can use it in the right way. And if Allah blesses you, you can complement each other. So, for example, I remember when I was a teacher, when I was in class, people were like, "You have to be strict. You have to play the rule. You have to." But and then I told myself, and like I said, I will come out fake to these children. They would know that this is the fake guy. This guy just trying to be like hard. He's not hard. So I just didn't go that route. I went on the route of empathy. And alhamdulillah, like when I left the school, the student, I still have communication with the students, because they respected me, in that I wasn't trying to be like, oh, they're all taller than me anyway, so I can't show macho or something like that. But my point is this: use your strength, use your core values to your strength, right? So just find a way of positively doing that. So if you're a disciplinarian, don't be telling the kid to go do stool down, every time. You don't want to overstress, but use that in a firm way. So, I pray that Allah make us best husband, best fathers, and make our children the goodness of our eyes. So So this is my expo for the sisters. Butter him up and then gently dismantle his armor.
Um, That's a nice answer. We really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm sure our female mothers who, I mean, I'm sure they've learned something from that, and most of them are ready to. I'm sure they will use that tip, that secret, the secret you've shared with them. I'm sure they will make use of it. Thank you very much, sir. So I don't know. Yeah, I think I have. There's a question here. Yeah, there's a question here that says that there's this Yoruba saying that what is to say? What's the question? Sorry. They used to say that Omo Buruku Niti Baba More Niti. I don't know like how like what the question is how true this is. Is it in line with the teaching of Islam? Is it in line with the teaching of Islam? I think I will start from Brother Tohib. Sorry, Brother Tohib Adejuma will answer the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No. No. It's nonsense. With all due respect to our fathers, those who used to say it's nonsense, it's not in line with Islam. I think, I guess, I think like, because it's also important to understand the context and why people say what they say. In my hypothesis, what I'm thinking is because back then, the fathers, they have like a lot of children, they have like 4, 5, 6, 7 wives, and then they're really not present in the raising of their children. Theirs is to just make the money and then spread it around and then have fun. So in that case, each like mother has like real contact with their children more than the father does. The father doesn't have any contact. But a child that's become successful like naturally becomes seen to the father. Oh, he is the successful one. So people will relate that, like, yeah, Omo Abenin, you know. However, if he will be able to go around, his companion or his friends, haha, Sherry, Lakashegbe, Omo Mini, Olo Dago, Olo the governor. But he doesn't, because he doesn't know even all of his children very well. He doesn't see the rest that are doing poorly. The mother sees them because she's always there. I think that's why they say that, but that has no place in Islam. Fathers, they and our children take our names, right? Only about him, right? So there is no place in that in Islam. You want your child to continue to take your name in a very good way. Either he or she doesn't, it doesn't matter. So that's saying that we shouldn't have any more in our from college educated Ahlul Sunnah or professional Muslims, whatever you want to call us. We shouldn't have that going around. And I know that people tend to regress when they are angry, and even though that's not development, they can say that, well, I don't care. That's the child is all on you. We should know that again. That's nonsense. But right now, we live in a different, and that's one thing I wanted to mention in the first time. We need, and tell me if I'm, because I talk too much sometimes. Tell me if I'm going out of time. We should know, and I think fathers, we should know that we are living in a different time. It's the same world in a different time. We can't change it. What you can't change it. It's just the reality. Some people say, well, I want to marry someone like it's gonna be like my grandma. Your grandma lived in the 1960s. It's just a function of change. Time and change is constant. So we have to upgrade ourselves. And I think that we have to upgrade ourselves. What used to work may not work anymore, right? When we were having our firstborn, Umar, I remember, I think my wife just told me one time that she was moody in the pregnancy. I was like, what's going on? She's like, I'm afraid, I'm scared. We are just here by ourselves, just you and I. We are having our first, in Nigeria, we have all these My mom would come, your mom would come, everybody is there. There's Alma Yawo, there's this such everything. But now we're having, I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense that you asked me. I didn't think about it. You know what I did? It's so funny. I was like, okay, I'll do something about it. What I did was I just went on Amazon and then both bought the book, new for the first time dads. I was
Yeah.
like, I think this is the best thing I can do right now.
Yeah.
And and that's just the reality. Of course, uh, I would want to be in a situation whereby, well, I have mothers, everybody's around, they can take care of her. I don't even have to care. I don't just go out and play soccer with my friends. But that's not the reality. And what I'm hearing is that that's not the reality anymore in Nigeria too. Like
Yeah.
as people search for livelihood, people fan out to different cities. It's just you and your husband, things like that. Well, I don't like personally. I don't like that. If I like collectivistic societies, but that's the reality. So we have to definitely live up to that. Yes, yes, and yeah, and the sunnah, and we already have the sunnah as in our backdrop, like Aisha said, the prophet when he's home, he helps around the house. When it's time for salah or time for something tangible, he leaves. So sometimes we may feel like I don't really want to change diaper, but when you remember that I did, you should think about it. Okay, I'll be humble enough to follow the sunnah of our prophet. So yeah, so that's my answer. It's nonsense to say, Omabruku, you're spending all this money on your child, you're working hard, and you don't want him to succeed, and you want to say that's for the mom. Yeah. So brothers don't talk about it. I'm sure brothers are not doing that anymore. Inshallah.
Now, Jazakumullahu khairan. Jazakumullahu khairan for the for the answer, for the sparing answer. So I don't know if you have to our brother Abdul Fattah Koko, like I don't know if you have anything to add to that, sir. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, sir. Can you hear me?
And now, quickly, yeah, I can hear you. I will say quickly that that mentality is just an escapist mentality on the part of fathers to associate success to themselves and failure to the mothers. What has this father done in the life of that child that would have made the child to turn out well? So perhaps the father hasn't done anything tangible. So now that the child now is a failure, so the father is like, oh, yeah, no more, yeah, no more, yeah. You understand? So it's just like an escapist mentality. We men, we have this ego, and we always feel like we know the best. Whatever we do is the best. So whatever we say is the best too. So we just feel like no, 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 no. I cannot associate failure to myself. It has to be the problem of the mother. But if the child is successful, then we associate to ourselves. It's what you call a bossy. It's a bossy. So we should do the right thing. If the child fails, we know we are all responsible. And if the child is successful, then we know we are all responsible. I think that's my own take. But Toib has said a lot about it, and I so much agree to all what he has said.
Now, Jazakumullahu khairan for the response too. So I think our the head coach of TP Parenting Academy is here. I don't know if she has anything to tell us.
To everyone, I don't really have much to say. I'm just watching in for my son's graduation, today's graduation. So I just say, let me just join this session to thank every one of you. I thank everyone for making this a reality. Because in all honesty, it can never happen. One of you might be dreaming of this, making this a reality. We have been dreaming of this since last year, December, when I went for a business boot camp. Alhamdulillah, that was coming to reality today. And I thank every one of you for making it a reality. Why we have so much concern about these fathers in parenting is that what men tend to listen more to men than to women. So when we are saying it on our own, they'll be like, kill so but ìyá mi nìkan ló dá gbogbo wa tọ́ kò sí nǹkan tó ṣe wá ọmọ tó bá dá mọ́ ìyá rẹ̀ ni tí ò bá ti dá ó kú díẹ̀ káàkó ni if you're making it like close it, open it. So we need to actually make them see it and hear it more from their own counterparts. So that's why we have this. And I thank every one of you for honoring the invite, for being here, and to all of our audience for staying tuned for over 2 hours. Wallahi is not easy. But one thing that I know that I'm sure of is that every one of us will account for the time that we spend. Some people are busy enjoying themselves now. Some people are busy with something now. So each of us is just focusing on the things that are important to us. And at the end of the day, we are going to account for that time. So someone that is there that for the past 2 hours, preaching knowledge or learning something just to better their parenting journey, Allah will reward them for it. But once you make effort over something, that's my home belief, that's something that has been working for me, Allah will grant you. And we are people of faith. We believe that if you have eventually you make effort towards something and it's not coming forth, well, Allah is for the better. So we need to just have an avenue whereby we remind ourselves, because reminder benefits the believers. So the more we remind ourselves about the responsibility to unlearn these patterns that we have seen our parents model, the more we can become better. So I'm really grateful to every one of us for honoring the invite, for sparing from our time to come, and for sacrificing the resources to join us here. It's not easy. So Jazakumullah khairan to everyone for joining us. For those that are also watching us live, since when, we thank you all for joining us too. Till tomorrow again, we'll continue again tomorrow. You know that I'm having a live session, you're disturbing. We continue again tomorrow. We continue again tomorrow, same time by 10 a.m. tomorrow. We are going to start, and tomorrow is going to be the last day of this conference. 10 a.m. and we're talking about technology and how parents can utilize and be proactive at this time. May Allah make it easy for us and spare our lives still and beyond tomorrow, inshallah. We ask every one of you, we ask Allah to forgive us for whatever mistake we have made during the course of this lecture, because all perfections belong to Allah. May have said something that Allah is not pleased with. We ask Allah to forgive us. May He make this gathering a sort of good day for us on the day of Qiyamah. Jazakumullah khairan, everyone. Thank you for joining. So tomorrow again, join us again. Samurai Council Barakat. Mr. Kubola, Jazakumullah khairan. Mr. Tohib, Mr. Khadija, thank you very much for holding the space for me today. I really appreciate you. Allah reward you abundantly. Samurai Council Barakat, everyone. I don't know. Is there any question in the comment section?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Okay. Jazakumullah khairan, everyone. Samurai Council Barakat.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.